again, dear listener. This episode comes with a warning. If you listen too closely, you might start dreaming of magical gates, rattling keys, and torches in the night. Welcome to Goddess Witch Woman. I'm Marianna, your myth-spinning, ritual-loving guide, and this is episode 2 of our Hecate series. If the first episode was about crossroads, today we turn the key. But before we reach for the keys, let's talk about garlic. I told you to bring some on our previous episode. Did you bring some garlic? Yes, garlic. Pungent, grounding, protective. It's one of Hecate's oldest offerings. In ancient Greek tradition, garlic was placed at the crossroads during the dark moon as part of Hecate's monthly rite of purification and boundary setting. The smell was believed to ward off wandering spirits and unwanted energies. I wonder if that's where we get that from vampires and garlic as well. I don't know. But often it was left for her along with other foods like eggs or fish, and it was never taken back. If you took it back, it meant you were inviting bad luck or worse. So garlic in particular was both an offering and a message to honor the dead, to mark the space between worlds, and to recognize that what we cannot see still hungers. Other common offerings to Hecate included honey, eggs, incense, and little cakes shaped like torches or wheels. Some practitioners today leave red wine, pomegranates, or even dark chocolate to Hecate. And the spiriting of offerings, when we do offerings, the spirit of it is to being devout. It's devotion, intention, asking for blessings and protection, right? So maybe you've put garlic on your altar, or you've been drawn to it without really knowing why, and now you do. So keep garlic close, offer it with intention, because Hecate notices. Now we turn to the other thing that she carries. Picture her at the edge of the veil between worlds, just at the edge of the road. She carries keys, heavy and old. Some of these keys open doors between realms. Some opened locked up rooms inside each of us. And she knows what each key is for. Hecate is called kleidouchos. I'm hoping I don't butcher the Greek. Shout out to my bestie Ophelia for trying to teach me Greek words. But so she's called kleidouchos in ancient texts. That means the keybearer. She grants access, and sometimes she doesn't. But that doesn't mean she's cruel. Gods and deities are not good or bad. They are what they are. So she simply understands that not every door belongs to every moment. Timing matters, readiness matters. So she knows how to open and unlock. She appears in the Chaldean oracles as the world soul, the anima mundi, the living bridge between spirit and matter. The Chaldean oracles are mystical texts from late antiquity that describe Hecate as the axis through which divine energy moves into the material world. She is like a cosmic hinge. She's the boundary walker. She's the pulse in the in-between of worlds. There is a collection of ancient Egyptian and Greco-Roman spells, prayers, and rituals that is called the Greek magical Papyri. And in them, Hecate is invoked as gatekeeper, protector, goddess of night, torchbearer, as we'd mentioned before, and the mother of witches. These papyri reveal how she was called upon in spells for protection, for necromancy, crossroad rituals, divine communication. She is named as one who holds power over spirits and sacred thresholds. And Mother of Witches. That's a title I want to carve into something, maybe tattoo. She's the witch's witch. That's who she is. Not just a goddess of the witches, but she's the witch. The one witches turn to. The one we come from. And in some versions of her mythos, she's seen as the initiator of Medea, a most infamous of witches. And Medea is the niece of Circe, and she's an even more powerful witch. Medea knew poisons and herbs and blood rituals, and so did Circe. No worries, we will have a special episode for both of them. But they knew how to end things and how to begin things. And it is said that it was Hecate who taught them and gave them the tools. There is a Greek word, Pharmakeia, which means both sorcery and medicine. In the Bible, Pharmakeia is a Greek word that's generally translated as sorcery or witchcraft. It refers to the use of drugs, potions, or spells for harmful, misleading, occult practices rather than medical purposes. And while the English word pharmacy shares the same root, the Greek root, the biblical context for Pharmakeia emphasizes deception and spiritual misuse. So over time, with Christianity, this word became heavy with suspicion, used to discredit the healing arts and the women who practice healing arts, as the words witch and witchcraft still do, right? So there's a book called Entering the Garden of Hecate. I think the author is Cindy Brandon, and she says something like, I have it here. The Garden of Hecate, the great mother goddess from whom all the world flows, is the spiritual home for the practice of Pharmakeia, the ancient art, craft, and science of plant spirit witchcraft. This practice uses botanicals for corporeal purposes, the crafting of magical formulations, and the art of transcending. So now we can take a deeper look at this word Pharmakeia as more than a concept, of a harmful concept. We can see these healers, witches, as daughters of Hecate, or perhaps ones who carry the spirit that comes from the lineage of Hecate, because she worked with plants and potions and whispered spells over bowls of steam, and moved with the knowing that something sacred lives in things that are mixed by hand and spoken by heart, like all witches know and do. We're not talking about fairy tale witches, not yet. Soon, we'll get to them. I'm talking about the women who are called witches are women who are edge walkers, midwives. But let me pause here. We can go deeper into the lineage of witches, and we will, but it will be too long an episode for now. So let's return to something else that's Hecate-wise, something practical, a symbol that clicks and clangs and opens doors. Keys. Keys can be ornamental, but they are primarily functional. Symbolically and realistically, physically, to carry a key is to carry responsibility. You open a door, you walk through, and you have access to what's on the other side. And if you lock something, you are forbidding or restraining access. So let's look a little bit on the symbolism of a key. I always think of Bluebeard's story, the key on Bluebeard's story. If you don't know this fairy tale, here's a brief summary and spoiler. Bluebeard is a man who is a serial wife killer. He keeps a chamber of horrors in his house, and he gives his new wife the key to that chamber and tells her not to open that door. And after you're finished listening to this episode, grab Clarissa Pinkola Estes' book Women Who Run with the Wolves and go read the chapter on Bluebeard. It will change your life. Just saying, just leaving it out there. Well, back to the key in the story. The one key that opens the forbidden chamber in Bluebeard's story, the key bleeds when the truth spills out, because in the chamber all his dead wife's bodies are there, right? So the key reveals what is ready to be known, and this knowing, no matter how brutal, shakes something loose within us and brings truth out. And that, I cannot not relate that to Hecate. She opens the doors of truth. That's why she's the key bearer. And once the truth has room to breathe, something inside of us begins to shift. We are more knowledgeable now. And then I've heard this from many women. Like, keys show up in dreams and in ritual, in dreams in the shape of bones and roots, and moments where women know something has shifted. Some hard truth is now known. It's usually when we say no and we mean it, or when we say yes and we mean it, when we walk through some doors of knowledge that are sacred. Hecate's keys are said to unlock the gates of the underworld. And that also means the gates of birth, of transformation. She holds the past, the shadow, the unspoken, that moment of not yet, of still. In modern witchcraft, she is often invoked for protection. I often invoke her for protection, for initiation, for clarity. Another one of her symbols used in modern witchcraft is the strophalos, or the Hecate's wheel, as we may know it in English, is a symbol used in rituals that honor cycles and wisdom. The earliest descriptions of Hecate's wheel come from the Chaldean oracles, where it is connected to cosmic movement and spiritual initiation. It looks like a labyrinth a little bit. And in modern Hecatean practices, it represents the spiral of life, the ever-turning path of transformation, and the goddess's presence at every phase of the turning of life. It represents motion, spiral, transformation, movement. There's so much wisdom in that. Okay, talking about movement, I want to talk a little bit about those moments when we feel stuck. Sometimes the key to self-knowledge or self-love or whatever is in our palm. And all that we need to do is take a deep breath, steady our hand, and bring a spark of trust in the divine. And there's a change that hums under the skin. The threshold is there waiting to be crossed. The drums are sounding. Hecate does not force us. No deity forces us to do anything. None. She waits for you. She stands at the gate, waiting for you to use your key. And the key is an offering. And that invitation hums in the air, steady and soft, waiting for you to say yes. So breathe with me. Yes. Let me ask you this. What parts of you are asking to be unlocked? What is rattling the doorknob? What truth have you been trying to unlock? And most of all, can you trust yourself and Hecate to open the door? I will end this wishing that your hands may find the keys that they need. May your body know what to open and what to leave behind. This was episode 2 of our walk with Hecate. I'm Marianna, and I hope you are walking a sacred path, one key at a time. And in the next episode, we'll go a bit deeper. The veil thins, the dogs howl, the weasel, yes, the weasel rustles at the edge of the fields, and Hecate begins to show us what it means to walk with the dead. Blessed be, and see you soon.